This is about the air cooler. Nothing great mechanical engineering or thermal engineering technique is involved in the concept of air cooler. But the air conditioning is completely different.
Okay.
The air conditioning is operating in the principal vapor compression refrigeration system.
Right.
VCR cycle.
Okay.
It's a thermal cycle.
Very good.
So as per this, we are going to not add the moisture in the air, so atmospheric air, in order to cool it.
Right.
Actually, we are going to extract the heat from the atmosphere.
That's correct.
By means of a cycle VCR system. The VCR system is comprised of a compressor, a capillary, and condenser, and all things.
True.
Pumping.
True.
So in that, working fluid is involved in that. The working fluid is a very low boiling point liquid like Freon or like LPG. So this will extract the heat from the air in the room.
Okay.
And then it carry away the heat from the room air, and this will burns out the heat from the outside. Suddenly this will condensate, and the cycle is repeated again and again.
True.
In this way, we are cooling the room.
Very
so
good.
the concept of air cooler and air conditioner is different.
Totally different.
And one more advantageous point in the case of air conditioner is we can dehumidify the air. We can remove the major amount of moisture content from the room air.
Yes. And by the way, we see this in nature also, right? And I believe in Silchar also it happens. If you walk, I was told yesterday, the sun rises here at 4:30 a.m. I doubt if I would ever witness that sunrise. Okay, 4:30 a.m. is a little too early for me. But if you were to wake up at 4:30 a.m. and walk on grass, probably the grass is wet, right? There's some condensation that takes place because of the difference in temperatures and so on and so forth. So fundamentally, the way air conditioning works and the way air cooler works is totally different technologies, totally different scientific principles behind how and what air cooler does and how and what air conditioner does. All right, there is tremendous. It's basically a process of heat exchange, right? But how the scientific principle behind that heat exchange is different. There are tremendous innovations in air conditioning and cooling. Tremendous innovations. So if you talk about a split AC, so it used to be that you needed a window, right? But there are many environments when there are no windows, right? I mean, you look at this one, no windows. So how do you do it? Then you say, I'm going to split the AC, right? You need the cool air here, but I can put the compressor outside. So that's there. There's a lot of work that's being done on smart buildings, smart ways of cooling. But essentially, it's a heat exchange. Heat typically tends to rise, right? So if you're in a room that's about 10 feet tall, you can actually imagine that you're never going to be in the top 3 feet, right? It's 10 feet tall. You are, let's say, 6 feet tall. You're never going to be that close to the ceiling, right? So therefore, technically, you can use the upper part of the room for storing heat, right? So you create a heat exchanger whereby there is a differential of temperature between the lower surfaces and the upper surface, all right? So a lot of work is being done. So it's very appropriate. Folks, your electricity bill, a huge part of that electricity bill is actually air conditioning. Very appropriate. Okay, someone else wants to share something. Some invention that you guys are working on. So let me share one of my own. And this is something, and I'm kind of like, remember, as I'm standing here, I'm making a public disclosure, right? It's being recorded and all that. So I'm actually completely destroying the chances of securing a patent. But never mind, I may have spoken about this invention in other forums as well. So here's the invention. Remember, I'm a telecoms person, all right? I'm a telecoms person. So 2 parts to this invention. So it's all dealing with mobile phones. Now, when you hold the mobile phones, if I turn the mobile phone, can the picture turn? The answer is yes. There is some way to detect, right? There is some electronics inside that detects the orientation of this. But human beings, when I have the phone right now, the screen is not on. When I'm a human person, if I flip it upside down, the screen will rotate, right? But if I want to type a message, will the keys rotate? The keys don't rotate. I mean, I'm very ashamed to put my mobile phone here, but you guys see, it's a very simple phone, right? The keys are here. This is the bottom actually. I'm holding it upside down. This is the bottom, right? So in my mind, it's of great value. Remember, I have to give a value proposition here. In my mind, it's of great value when I hold the phone like this, upside down. Not only should the screen rotate, the keys should also rotate. These are all soft keys, guys. Okay? So why don't the keys rotate? So therefore, whether I hold the phone like this or I hold the phone like this, it doesn't matter. You see, there is a certain amount of symmetry in this phone. But the buttons, the hardware has no symmetry. Why should there be a power charger here? I should be able to close my eyes and I say the power charger is on the smaller edge. But there are two smaller edges, right? I should be able to close my eyes and say both sides. It doesn't matter which side I choose. I can power my phone. All right. Now we're gonna spend some time outside of this room also today, right? We're gonna go for some tea bagan, so we can continue in the whether it's really a good invention or a bad invention. But all of us must have something on our minds. Okay, as we go through this journey of life. Let me share one more. This phone here, okay, by the way, it doesn't matter. It's a Xiaomi. You may have an Apple phone. It doesn't matter. I'm not talking about the brand. Okay. So the phone I have, if I put it here, and the phone rings, how do I know it's ringing? Very good. Because of the sound, right? Because of the sound. So there is some sound. I can control the volume. I have a certain ringtone, right? All those good things. But it's sound. Essentially, we have 5 senses, right? 5 senses. So by sound, you're exciting one of those 5 senses. How about the other 4? Can I excite it by light? It flashes, right? Can I excite it by light? Can I excite it by vibration, sense of touch? Yes. Can I excite it by taste? I don't know. Can you excite it by smell? Okay. The chances are in the future somebody may think of something whereby it begins to give out a certain smell if a call comes in. All right. Whatever. Okay. So the point was, I'm sort of reasoning, and this is where the inventive part comes in. I'm reasoning that what I'm going to do is I'm going to sort of strengthen. Remember, I don't have to invent everything from scratch. I'm not inventing a light bulb. I'm not inventing an LED. But essentially, now you have LEDs in multiple colors. Somebody innovated with those LEDs, and now traffic lights are LED based. You guys know this. Around the world, LED lights are used for traffic lights. Very good. So I say, on this phone, maybe somewhere here in the back, doesn't matter where you put it, let me put 4 LEDs, 5 LEDs, doesn't matter. When I invent, it's not the number of LEDs. Okay, sufficient number of LEDs. I put sufficient number of LEDs here, and I program based on caller ID. These LEDs will light up in a certain pattern based on the caller ID of the caller. Right? When the phone comes, when the call comes in, there's already caller ID built in, right? So there's caller ID built in, and my phone could be here. Doesn't matter. I don't open the phone. I don't even look at the phone. You see, the lights are traveling in a straight line. So more or less, when I'm standing here, I don't have to look to read the name of the person or see the picture. Maybe I'm standing here. I can't see the picture, but I will be able to see the lights light up in a certain pattern. Everybody sees the invention, right? So this is basically saying, I want to strengthen. Remember, we consume information by our eyes. That's where the consumption takes place. I'm saying, let me now bring about that strengthening of information flow through the eyes in this environment also. Everybody sees the invention. All right. Now, I have to make a business case also. That's a different story, because now I'm not about to manufacture a mobile phone. If I have this invention, I would still need to go to a mobile phone manufacturer and say, why don't you amend the hardware in a certain way to include this functionality in your phone? And they have to be convinced that they can make 5, 10 cents more because they have this particular way of call notification. Okay, everybody sees it here? All right, folks, other things. You guys have just come in. So what have you guys been inventing? Have you invented anything? Remember, there's a presentation coming up. Folks, go ahead, sir. Can you pass the microphone to the gentleman?
Actually, the chalk and board, what we use in classrooms. I face the problem in chalk and
Oh, the board.
board
Okay.
in classrooms.
Go ahead.
Many places it's actually black and chalkboard is replaced with this marker, white marker.
Right.
But in our area, Tamil Nadu, many of the schools and even in my college, every classroom has chalkboard.
When you say chalkboard, I think the board is black color and the chalk is white.
White color.
Right? In this case, we have a white board, but we write with a different color.
Yes.
Okay, very good. Continue.
But the problem with that board is that the chalk test. I face two problems whenever I go inside the class. The board is completely written with chalk, with some matter, some material. And I have to go into the class and I have to rub everything.
Yes.
It will take some time.
Yes.
So my every class period is 50 minutes. So I have to spend for some 2 to 3 minutes for
Yes.
that.
Understood.
And the dust which collects when it's being erased.
Yes.
Right. And it actually it's not good to health, right?
Yes.
So
very
this,
bad.
this is the problem.
Okay.
So
Very good.
I need to make it as an automated one. I don't need to erase the thing.
Okay. Very
I
good.
don't want to erase the thing.
All right.
Because it's a common problem that when I leave the class, I leave the board as it is.
This is
And this is a problem to the teacher who is coming next.
very true. Very true. Folks, you understand the problem he's talking about? It's a well-documented problem. Has something been done about it? The answer is yes, something has been done about it. And he's raising a very valid point. But every time you do something, you have to keep the cost considerations in mind. You cannot escape cost. So, what have people done? Is there something called a dust-free chalk? The answer is yes. That's number one. Number two, the health hazard that you pointed out is a valid health hazard. The way the human body is designed, any dust that goes in, especially anything that goes through your nose, it never comes out. Anything you consume through your food pipe, chances are the body may tend to reject it at some point in time. Okay? So the point you are making is a valid one. The problem is well documented. Okay? Other solutions? How do you erase things faster, better? Don't you if you take a piece of cloth and you wear it, can you not wipe it faster and it's a little better? Right? So somebody knows this. Somebody knows this. Now, let me take the same problem applied in a different environment. Are you guys familiar with the concept of toilet paper? Yes, no? Yes. So toilet paper is the same problem. You want to wipe a certain surface, right? You want to wipe it, and you want to wipe it clean. Everybody sees it here. So you have toilet paper. Now Indians, what solution do they have? Do they use toilet paper? Does everybody use toilet paper? The answer is no. What do we use? It's called water, right? It's called water. So it's very simple. You want to build a product, you want to provide a certain function. No one way of solving this problem of wiping a certain surface clean. First of all, there's a lot of commonality. Number one. There can also be differences, but you got to somehow articulate the commonality to be able to arrive at a solution that is somewhat more comprehensive. Maybe you can learn from the toilet paper to design a duster. What is it called? Is it called a duster? Duster. So you can design a duster. Even this duster that you have is a very curious thing. We didn't have it in our schools. This is long ago. But this duster, you see, you're using the duster for multiple uses. Remember unification? You're using it as a pen holder also. Okay? But let's continue this conversation about the toilet paper and the duster. So on one hand, you have the paper, completely paper, dry paper. On the other hand, you have water. Can you bring the two together? Maybe you have some paper, but it's no longer dry. It's moist. You know what I'm saying? It's pre-processed in some sense and it's moist. Right? What do you guys think? Does such a thing exist? The answer is yes. Somebody thinks about these things. All right? So folks, remember the comment that was made in IDEO video. Every product that you see has been designed by somebody. So don't think that these products come out of nowhere. They come out of people who are interested in, they observe behavior, and based on what they observe, they sort of identify a certain problem or a certain need in the marketplace, and then they design the product. Okay? I may not have a solution to what the problem that you are articulating, but definitely this problem, if it's that intense a problem, it calls out for a solution. All right? What that solution could be, you would then need to take that solution to those schools, like you said in Tamil Nadu, and then you got to say, you have to somehow get a buy-in from the school teachers, from the school administration, and you have to educate them. Don't think that they would know. You have to educate them that there are certain health hazards associated with using traditional chalk. All right? But don't think that this whiteboard and this pen don't create any dust. They also create a dust. All right? Except for the dust is such fine particles that we tend to think, you know, when you wipe it clean, that thing goes somewhere. 95% of it comes here. 5% of it escapes in the air. Okay? But that's what you got. So you see, that's where the value is in a conversation like this. Now we are not beginning, now we are not seeing technology as a starting point of the conversation. It's not. It's a certain problem statement. It's a certain need we have identified. Be it the need of air coolers, be it the need of chalk and dusters in the school. And all of these products are mass consumer products. Tons and tons of people consume it. Okay, someone else.
Sir, I have a question. That, is it necessary to have a utility or need for a product?
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Say something more.
Yeah, if we search on the internet, YouTube, whatever, we can see many such products which are very famous and people buy it, but there is no utility. Suppose I can give you an example. That's smiley ball, yellow color. There's no utility to it, but still everyone buys it.
That thing that
everyone buys it.
Hey, do you hear this? It is tremendously useful. It was actually recommended for my mother. It helps you ease the stress. And there's lots of those kinds of things. You see, utility, first of all, folks, we're gonna see some of that here also today. Utility is not something that everybody has the same utility. Why? Because not everybody has the same needs. So utility would be different. All right? As long as there is enough number of people who find it useful, that product will sell in the marketplace. Okay? So that is stress ball, the yellow ball, it comes with a smiley face, right? Does it not? It's a way to release the stress. In fact, you'll be surprised to hear there's a lot of products out there, guys, that help us relieve the stress. For example, give you a simple example. Somebody realized, and there's a product like this, the kind of products he's talking about. Very good. So there's a product in the market. It's like a small cube, all right? And it has a switch on one side. So all you can do is you can just turn it on and off, on and off, on and off. It sort of helps you. It engages you, all right? So people just buy it. It's on. There's nothing connected to the switch. All it is a small thing, and it's a switch. There are other things to it, because apparently, if I give you a pen, have you seen people? I have tried very hard. I cannot do it. Have you seen people rotate the pen with 2 fingers and a thumb? It's incredible. That action is so darn incredible. And it's not like they're looking at it and doing it. The beauty is they talk to you and they're engaged in this pen. All right? You guys know what I'm talking about, right? It's amazing. So what people do for what utility? Oh, I just find it, I don't know, entertaining, useful, engages me, helps me concentrate on something else. Who knows? All right? Who knows? But folks, that's the way it's going to be. You got to understand the people. Remember, we talked about fun yesterday. Fun is such an incredible thing. All right? So the closer something gets to a human being, more incredible it gets. Because you as a human being will not allow something to get close to you unless there is some utility. Okay? Unless there is some utility. All right, folks, there's lots of you are here. We're gonna we're gonna sort of move on with the content for today, but we take some questions. Shubham, can you pass the microphone, please? Thank you.
So whatever is series today, India has a lot of water problem. Means everywhere approximately for five Indians, one Indian gets unpure water.
Seriously?
Seriously, in today's new scenario. And what we can do is when we can we create some miniature filters that means if we means just like it is like something what we did just like straw. Can we create something like that? And when we just suck the water, it just purifies itself, and we can drink the normal water.
Okay,
Means
folks,
something like that.
very good, very good. Folks, do you guys know that nature has a way of filtering water? Right? As it's a wonderful thing, and we studied this in the school, right? You take like a jar or like a beaker, and you fill it up with coal, some particular kind of dust, not dust, some stones and things like that, and then sort of it's a natural filter. All these RO things that you see, right? A lot of those RO things are essentially a manifestation of that. But the RO, I believe, has some ionization that they do, right? Because there is electricity and things like that. So you wanted to say something. You wanted to say something, right? Can we pass the microphone? Okay. So yes, it's not just in India. Globally, it's a documented problem that water, one, it's getting scarce. Number two, it's not being managed as well as it ought to be managed, right? Even though history says a lot of wars are fought over control of water. Okay, on one hand, we have wars documented. On the other side, I think in modern times, the water is seen not to be that critical a problem for human society. But never mind. Let's carry on. Go ahead, sir.
Contaminated water, we are thinking. First, we have to know the nature of contamination.
Right.
Whether the contamination is in dissolved form or undissolved form. So, chemical contaminants and some other salt contaminations are in the dissolved form. We are not able to physically filter them.
Yes.
Some amount of some extraordinary filtration technique is required to remove the such unwanted impurities from the raw water.
Yes.
Recently, all over the country, I think all over the world, the best and one and only method used for filtering water is RO treatment, reverse osmosis treatment. Then we need to use reverse osmosis.
He says RO is reverse osmosis. Thank you, sir. Okay, go ahead, continue.
So in that case, completely we can remove the impurities up to the atomic level. Because the membrane will allow only the hydrogen and oxygen atoms only. Rest of the all impurities like bacteria, virus, and whatever it may be, the other chemicals, arsenic impurities. Arsenic impurities is a very, very worst impurity in water. Nowadays, a few days back we also thought about that.
Yes.
That is, we are throwing out the batteries,
Yes.
chemical batteries in the land. The chemical battery mainly contain lead, zinc, cadmium, arsenic, mercury. These are all the very, very poisonous.
Very poisonous.
They will directly contaminate the groundwater, and the water directly are going to drink also.
Yes. And you see, you close the cycle because you don't drink that water. Because I don't know, I see a lot of us using this this kind of water. So you say, okay, fine, I'm drinking this. Am I safe? But then you release that kind of water into the ocean, right? And then you catch a fish, and then you realize that the contamination is back in your life through the food cycle. Okay, so you got to be careful. So a lot of these are, like I said again, when you look at a problem and you look at what potential or possible solutions, you got to go back to your science. What is the science of filtering? You want to get rid of, you have two things mixed together. You want to separate them out, right? That's the problem. So how do you separate things out? Is reverse osmosis, RO, is that the only solution, or are there other solutions out there? Can you heat up water? Right? So if you heat up water, right, what happens? At 100 degrees centigrade,
Microorganisms only will get.
very good. But then you're gonna steam. You're gonna create steam, and then you can condense the steam, right? Will that do the job? Is that a solution? It's a totally different process. All right? Totally different process of separation. Why? How do you separate things out? Because different materials, different things will have different boiling point. Right? So you're using the characteristic of boiling point to separate things out. So you got to look for something, some way, some property, some chemical, physical property to separate things out. All right? Again, no one solution for all situations. All right? No one solution. So it keeps moving around, guys. Some of these problems are very fundamental problems to human existence. More fundamental they are, more complex their solutions are going to be. All right? That's just the way it is. All right? Okay.
Also, finally, I want
Go ahead,
to say one thing, sir. RO water is maybe a best solution for removing the contaminations.
Right.
But drinking water treated by the RO plant is hygienic but not healthy. This will remove all essential minerals from the water itself, along with the impurities also. So our body is made up to consume some amount of minerals only through the water. The water is the one and only source for getting those minerals. So by treating the water from the RO plant, we are going to lose them. From any other food or tablets, we can't get the nutrients.
Very good. Folks, do you see the point he's trying to make? Is that an opportunity? You say, when I do this RO thing, I lose minerals. Do you not see now the Bisleri water says what? You guys drink Bisleri water, right? Once in a while? What does it say on the bottle?
Actually, we call it as mineral water. Actually, it's demineralized water.
Do you see? Very good. But go back and check the label on your Bisleri bottle. It says enriched with minerals. So they remove minerals and then they add minerals. That's just a market opportunity.
That also one problem with that, sir. They are enriching the treated water with inorganic nutrients. But our body accepts only minerals in the form of organic matter. Eating some vegetables and fruits to get nutrients is better. But in the way, same, if you want to eat some A vitamin tablets and B vitamin tablets, this is not equal to the eating the fruit. So organic consumption and inorganic consumption is different.
Is speaking the truth. Yes. What the statement that he's making is a statement of fact. All right? But the way now, what happens is this. Typically, we have a certain life cycle. So for the biological systems to react, it takes 20, 30, 40, 50 years. So for you to learn the positive and the negative effects of anything you consume, it will take 20, 30, 40, 50 years. So you will not be able to say in the short run whether this thing is useful to your body or not. Simple example I believe I have given is the example of electromagnetic radiation. All right, we are all bathing in that radiation. Is that having any effect? We don't know. Right? Right now you say in the short run, no effect. But in the long run, the jury is still out there. All right, so there's a lot of that. Folks, other comments before we carry on with our market considerations? We want to bring in markets. So one way we bring in markets is to invite somebody who has a company here. Bro, would you like to talk to the class? Take 5 minutes, tell the class what product do you have, what exactly you're doing. Can you pass the microphone to him, please? Would you like to come here? Go ahead.
Okay, first of all, I'm grateful to Professor Garg sir for providing me this opportunity of speaking or sharing my experience with you all. So, I have a company going by the name of Shishakti Engineering Works Private Limited. It is nothing, but we are just making, it's a plan for making wire nails, screws, and these things, sort of things. So, the thing is that why only this? Why not other things? There are many things in the world which I can make, but I have chosen only this particular things. The thing is that when I was wondering that what to make, I thought that what is that people need? If I go statistically, means when I've researched through it, in Assam there are no manufacturing plants for this wire nails. All the shops, they have to import it from Kolkata, West Bengal, or Gujarat. So I've seen there is a market opportunity here. If I make a sufficient amount of these things, the wire nails, then I can make available to it to all the stores in the not only in Assam but for the total northeast of India. So when I see the market, if I take in the market consideration, I've seen that per kilo of this vinyls they cost around 65 to 70 rupees. But if I directly make it on my own, it will take, you'll be shocked to hear that it will take hardly 25 to 30 rupees per kilo. So the excess 40, 45, that is my profit. But how to attract the customers? Because if I go into a shop and I say that yes, take mine, they will say, yeah, you are just local and you are just new. Why should I buy from you? You have already a manufacturer out there. So I have to attract them. And more or less, what you can say that for a business, for a particular business to progress, you have to take into account the money consideration. So if I just optimize it and cut the cost of it, suppose by 10 or 15 rupees. If I say that yes, I will give it to you for only 50 rupees, will they buy from me? Of course they will. Since for them it was 70 rupees and now they are getting it for 50 rupees. So there is a cut in a costing of 20 rupees. And I'm also profitable in the way that I don't need transportation charges. Since I'll just manufacture it locally here and I'll just supply it through any van or whatever, through small trucks. So there's this opportunity. So when I talk of these opportunities, there's one thing that comes into my mind that any business that comes broadly comes into only two categories. One is the push and the other one is the pull category. So I can describe it by taking an example. Suppose there are two cars. Okay, one is just I mean take Maruti or whatever. Okay, Maruti, Suzuki, Honda. Okay, so when you switch on your TV, you see the ads coming up that buy this Maruti or Suzuki or Honda. But do you ever see any ads for Mercedes or suppose Rolls Royce, Lamborghini? Lamborghini, Ferrari, Rolls Royce, they don't, since they are a brand and they don't push their customers that please buy from me. They're there, they don't add, they don't advertise. They said, okay, let the customers come to us. They're building a hype. They're building as a brand. So that is why you have to come into the pull category rather than the push category. You're not pushing the customer, you should pull the customer. And in my case, I'm not pushing from my product. Since the product is general, I'm pulling them through the cost, since it is very much cheaper than the other products. So that is there, and I'm planning to manufacture many more such RDMs. I have talked to some persons of BPCL and other factory organizations. So they say that yes, when we try to manufacture, there's NTPC. So there are some screws that we don't find in the market. It's very rare. Okay, and to talk of that, 8-inch nails, screws of specific designs, they don't make it anywhere. So it is very hard to purchase those things. So if we can manufacture this locally, then it will be a very help to them also and monetarily to me also. Okay, so there is the thank you.
All right, folks, please questions, anything. Round of applause. Very good. Thank you so much. Wonderful. Okay. So he touches upon many things. He spoke about market opportunity that he sees because things have to be bordered. He spoke about certain primary markets, which is the Northeast. Eventually, when he grows, he would probably then begin to export it to Kolkata, Gujarat, he mentioned, and so on and beyond. Who knows? All right. And, excuse me. And pricing plays a huge role, and we'll see that. We have a whole series of lectures coming up on economics and financial planning and so on. But today, this lecture is meant to be rather brief, right? We already said 11 o'clock, you're going to go for Deepagan. But we want to bring in markets in a gentler, subtle way. So far, we have talked about competition. There is competition in the market, right? Competition essentially means somebody can substitute my product, right? So it's not like my product is the only one. They can substitute my product with someone else's product. They may not be 100% identical. They could be close enough that they are substitute products, right? So there's a lot of these kinds of products out there. You can say, I buy a mobile phone from Xiaomi, from Oppo, from Apple, from Samsung, Is there a local manufacturer of mobile phones in India? Okay, very good. Micromax. All right, Micromax and so on, right? But now what we're talking about is not so much competition. We will talk about competition as well. And we have already been talking about competition. This is something slightly different. This one says we are in the marketplace and certain goods now will be complementary goods. All right? So you have and how the play takes place. Your product does not exist in vacuum, right? It exists in a certain marketplace. So when your product exists in a marketplace, there are other products. You've already talked about competition, which is essentially products that can be substituted. Now what we're talking about is products that help you to sort of play in the marketplace. Okay? So we're going to talk about complementary goods. So you have a base good. Let's say this is what you are manufacturing, a base good, and then you have a complementary good. You may not necessarily be manufacturing this complementary good. What happens? If the demand for A goes up, the demand for B goes up. All right, very simple, guys. So demand for A goes up, demand for B goes up. If the demand for A goes down, the demand for B goes down. All right. So this kind of interesting. You have, for example, you can say more and more people want to have cars. So when more and more people want to have cars, the demand for cars will go up, right? But what happens when the demand for car goes up? Are there complementary goods out there? For example, petrol, very good, petrol. For example, the roads, right? And so on. So therefore, if the demand for A goes up, the demand for B goes up. Now, do we know this already? We should be able to identify complementary goods. And therefore, now we have to somehow manage the demand. And by the way, with demand and supply very closely interlinked with that phenomenon is a phenomenon of how you go about pricing your goods. Okay? So we're going to manage. There are lots of examples. Automobiles and fuel, printer and ink, right? DVD players and DVD. The fellow who manufactures a DVD player is not a fellow who's manufacturing DVDs. It's not a fellow who's supplying content for the DVDs, right? But you're not going to have a DVD player and not have any DVDs with any content. Makes no sense, all right? So you say if the demand for DVD goes up, DVD players, the demand for DVD players goes up, more and more households have DVD players. What's going to happen to the demand for DVDs? The demand will go up, all right? So it's a lot of these kinds of products that you play with. Okay, so demand for mobile phones goes up. There's a lot of research that goes into mobile phones. When the demand for mobile phones goes up, what happens? To the network, demand for the network, the airtime, the availability, and so on. That demand will go up. All right, that demand will go up. And all of these things, folks, are price sensitive. But that's where the opportunities will be. So you have a certain base good. One more time, a certain base good. So you have a gaming console. You guys play games on gaming consoles? Xbox, very good. PlayStation 2, 3, 4, something like that. PlayStation. There's also some Sony, something. Nintendo, very good. Right? So what happens? As the demand for gaming consoles goes up, a game is a complementary good. All right? But it's not the, please don't think that they are mutually complementary. You have to identify a base good and you have to identify a certain complementary good. All right? If the demand for games goes up, it may not necessarily mean that the demand for gaming consoles goes up. Maybe every house has a gaming console. Right? Every house. So therefore, there is no more sale of gaming consoles. But those people are demanding more and more games. So, right? So you have to be careful. There is a base good and there is a complementary good. How do we use this? Well, you say if the price goes up, what will happen to the demand if the price of a good goes up? Oops. If the price goes up, what will happen to demand? Demand goes down. Right? I mean, this is economics. I think it's called economics 001. It's not again economics 101. 001. right? So price goes up, demand goes down. Therefore, if the demand goes down, the demand for the complementary good goes down. Okay? So this is how the government would manage. This is how the government would manage. So if I increase the price of the car, what's going to happen to the demand for the roads? It's going to drop, right? Demand for the roads. Why? Increase the price of the car, the demand for the car goes down, the demand for the complementary good cost road goes down. So this is how many countries around the world will manage the demand for roads. All right? Roads, which is an open space left, which could not be used for other purposes, only for vehicle movement. Those roads consume a lot of space. Now, I don't know the statistics for India, but in the US, roads consume about 2% of the land. That's a lot of land, guys. 2% of the land. In a place like Singapore, they consume about 8% of the land. That's a lot of land again. All right, 8%. So you want to sort of control it. But now, from consumer behavior, the consumer behavior is pointing out certain ways for you to manage the demands, the pricing. All right. Look, one more example. Now, this probably happens a lot. Printers. So you are a company called Hewlett Packard, or you could be another company. Usually, these companies that manufacture printers, they also manufacture the ink for the printers. It's actually nothing but a very refined way to spray ink on paper. You know, that's what it is. But never mind how they go about. It must be very fine particles of ink that are sprayed on paper, and somehow you got to make sure that it dries very quickly. So that undergoes some kind of a heat treatment very quick. Now what? So what happens to this? So when you go to Hewlett Packard, this is so we give you this printer for $50. Okay, $50. So what happens when the price drops on this printer? $50. They're not even recovering. It cost them $60, but they're selling it to you for $50. They're taking a hit. What happens? So the price for the base good goes down, the printer, the demand will go up. As the demand goes up, the demand for the complementary good, which is the ink cartridges, that goes up. Right? Now you guys have bought ink cartridges, right? Those are they expensive? Are they cheap? Those are very expensive. Very, very expensive. All right, but now Hewlett Packard will tell you, sir, if you use anyone else's ink in my printer, your warranty is null and void. Okay? Your warranty is null and void. So they actually are creating some kind of a closed system where once you buy a Hewlett Packard printer or whatever, I mean, don't worry about the names, Hewlett Packard or what. It's basically a well-studied and well-tested technique for creating a closed environment around your product. Okay? Well-studied technique. But that's the way it goes. So you can actually manipulate. You can manipulate the pricing. And remember, why would you want to price anything in a certain way? You want to maximize money in your pocket, right? So Hewlett Packard or maybe these printer manufacturers may take a hit when it comes to just selling the printer. So one division makes loss, but that loss is more than recouped by the other division that makes ink cartridges. Well-studied phenomenon, guys. Well-studied, like I said, well-tested. It applies for anything. Mobile phones need airtime. DVD players need DVD with some content. Gaming consoles need the games. All kinds of things. All right. So, what's happening to? Does anybody know if the automobiles in India are taxed in a certain way? So, if you buy, for example, I don't know, there's a Mercedes plant in Tamil Nadu. So, if you want to buy Mercedes, is all of that cost to the manufacturer, or is the government raising the price? Folks, what's the deal? The government says, I categorize this automobile called Mercedes as luxury good or as a luxury car. And therefore, I tax it as a luxury item. All right? So a lot of these kind of techniques are used to manage demand and supply. Well studied. And this is not a bad story actually. This is a good story. Because this story of complementary goods gives rise to what is known as networking effect. Okay? Get this. I mean, you got to understand a little bit of human behavior, human psyche, human economics, for us to sort of introduce a product and make money. So far, when you say, how do I get value? So far, we have talked about value that you get from my use. So I buy a can of Coke, I drink Coke, gives me value, right? It quenches my thirst. In the middle of the desert, it helps me survive. But now, you also get value when other people use that product, right? Simple example, phone. If you're the only person in the whole world with a phone, you can't call anybody. So how good is that phone? It's totally useless, all right? If you're the only one with a fax machine, you know what a fax machine is. If you're the only one with a fax machine, how good is that fax machine? It's totally useless, all right? So the value that you get now from the use of fax machine goes that much more if everybody has a fax machine. All right? So when these products start, they start with maybe say the first person buying it, the second person buying it, the third one buying it. As more and more people buy, the value of the product for each and every one of them goes up. I bought it, I got a certain value. But when you buy it, I get additional value. When you buy it, I get additional value. So typically the value proposition is getting stronger and stronger as more and more people begin to use that product. And that gives rise to what is known as critical mass. So if lots and lots of people buy it, a certain tipping point comes when it's a natural phenomenon for more and more people to come in. So certain critical mass needs to be accumulated, and once that is done, everybody wants it. Okay? Now, technology-wise, so it leads to what is known as lock-in. Everybody will use that product, right? Microsoft is one example. Other people here who use PDF for documents, right? If you send me a PDF document, I can open it on my machine. You don't have to ask me what kind of, document processor you have on your machine. Everybody is using it. There is a certain critical mass for PDF. As soon as that mass was reached, there's a certain domino effect that takes over, and there is a lock-in. Some bad products get locked in, right? We have already spoken about keyboard. It's a bad product for today's times, never designed for efficiency, but humans are very good. So if you were given another type of keyboard, you would not know how to use it. All right? Excuse me. This is amazing. All right, this thing is really amazing. Really amazing. Amazing to the extent. Can we think of something else that's kind of like a lock-in?
Like Intel chip. Intel chip.
Intel chip. Very good. Keep going, keep going. Something else. I think in this day and age, the best example is WhatsApp. All right, if you're the only one with WhatsApp, how good is that WhatsApp? No good. You have it. Remember, we have a WhatsApp group here, right? Yes. Right? So everybody has it. That's the value. Hey, Facebook. Why? Because everybody's on Facebook. So you want to be on the Facebook because everybody's on the Facebook. All right? That's networking effect. That creates tremendous amount of value in the marketplace for those who are using those products and services. All right? And in that process, as you're creating more value, as more people use your product, more valuable the product becomes for everybody, and therefore there is opportunity to pay a whole ton of money. And folks, this is different from economies of scale. All right? Economies of scale is, if I make one of product, it costs me $100. If I make two of products, it will probably not cost me $200, slightly less. If I make three, the cost per unit is no longer 100, it's about 90, and so on and so forth. This is different. This is on the consumption side. All right? This is on the consumption side. kinds of things take place. But essentially, what you're looking at is if you somehow, the product that you create, if you can lead, if the product you create can lead to some kind of a sort of lock-in, huge amount of money can be made. All right? So that all of that is now called the networking effect, right? That's essentially what's happening. But when you look at it, by the way, what's the story of WhatsApp? You guys know who bought WhatsApp? Facebook. Very good. Facebook. Very good. How much money did they pay?
Approximately 1,21,000 crores in Indian currency.
Yes. It could not be Indonesian rupee. Okay. Yes, Indian currency. Very good. Okay. Now I'm a little off in my math of Indian currency, but it was sold for about 19 to 20 billion dollars. Right? Facebook. You can say, you cannot argue that Facebook people are stupid to pay so much money. Okay? Now, why would Facebook, folks, why would Facebook spend $19 billion to acquire WhatsApp?
Customer base.
They went after the customer base. Very good. They are not buying computer servers, right? You cannot buy like $20 billion worth of computer servers. Computer servers, I don't know, network equipment, whatever, right? No such thing. They're not paying that much money for the servers being used by WhatsApp. They're paying so much money for the customer base. Very good. Now, so let's talk about customer base now. You got to understand some of the numbers are staggering. Talk about customer base. So you say, if WhatsApp only had one person using it, Facebook will give $1. Facebook gives $1 for one person. 2 people using it, how much Facebook is giving? $2. 3 people using it, $3. 4 people using it, suddenly it's no longer 4. It's 4.5. You see that? 4.5 per person. You see that here? Well, how come they're doing it? Right? So I'm sorry. It's 4 people here, 4.5 net. So per person, it's no longer $1 to $1. Per person is about 1 person to about $1.1. Why? Because of the network effect. They realize that 4 people together, for to each one of them, the value proposition is that much stronger. All right? They know it too. So keep going. Eventually, what happened to each user of WhatsApp? What was the valuation that was given? Does anybody know? So I want to tell you, it sold for $20 billion, and at that time, there were about 500 million active users of WhatsApp. So what is per user valuation? Each customer is worth how much? $40. $40. So you use, see, market is a crazy thing. When you use WhatsApp, you are worth $40 to somebody. You're worth $40. Now you can, on one hand, you can say, hey, I never pay anything for WhatsApp. Have you ever paid anything? You have never paid anything. But because you are using the network, because there is 500 million people using that network, even though you're not paying anything, that entire thing is worth $20 billion in the marketplace. It's incredible. All right? Incredible. You pay nothing for using our product, but somebody makes money. All right? In your name, you are worth $40. Right? That's just the way it plays out. So you got to keep these kind of things, right, in your mind as you begin to engage. All right? As you begin to engage in the marketplace. Right? You have to use all of these things as opportunities. All right? All of these things are huge opportunities. Technologically, WhatsApp is no more superior to anybody. Don't think that WhatsApp has some technology that some other company does not have. No such thing. Technology-wise, all these platforms are technology neutral. The comparative advantage that they have does not come from superior technology. It comes from superior adoption and acceptance in the marketplace. That's where that is coming. Right? today it's supposed to be, there is a video, but there is a homework with that video. You see this here. This is your homework for this weekend. You're going to watch this video. You have the material. You know what video I'm talking about, right? It essentially will go into much greater details of network effect, where they talk about the gaming console and the game. The guys who manufacture gaming console don't manufacture the games. But if you have 5 companies making the console, this game, the person that or the company that develops the game, they have the choice of writing the game for this platform, the second platform, the third platform, and so on. So how you are going to incentivize these people who write the games to write the games for your platform is what this video is about. And folks, the stakes are humongous. If WhatsApp is being used by everybody, if WhatsApp is being used by everybody, everybody is using WhatsApp. How many people are then using UV time? If everybody is using WhatsApp, how many people use UV time? Come on, guys. That's a very simple question. If everybody, okay, one more time. If everybody is using WhatsApp, how many people are using UV time? What's the answer? Zero. Zero. It's very simple. So the amount of money that gets made in the market, it gives rise to monopoly. We have talked about monopoly. The opportunity then is exponential in terms of the amount of money you can make. All right? And again, one more time, it's not technological superiority that's giving you the network effect. It's giving mass consumer adoption of that technology in the marketplace. All right? So please watch the video. And we have the WhatsApp group, right? Please comment on the WhatsApp group of whatever it is that you find interesting in this platform simulation. It's very, very interesting. All right, folks, let me bring the lecture to a close. It's 11 a.m. It's time to enjoy some local Assamese tea. Right? Okay, so that's it for today. Thank you very much for coming on this Saturday morning. All right? Very nice. Thank you all for coming. All right, we bring this recording to a close. We'll see you guys when we go for the visit for the tea garden. Thank you.